yeah, and we have a rating from both players, so let's get started with game number 1. In 3, 2, 1, Tetris. Rainbow family, welcome on in. And Daniel's Song 39, I already read a previous chat you made, but also welcome on in on YouTube. Hope you're all having a good day. And 3 to 1 bits from K9 watching Tetris. Go dog go. So a bit of online facts here. As we get started into this set, Doc has actually won 4 seasons. He is our highest the player with the most amount of wins in CTL. I do not know the exact seasons that he's won, but I know he's won seasons 22 and 24, which was our previous season. So he is our current reigning champion for CTL. Whereas DanV, this is actually his first ever championship playoffs. Came close 2 seasons in a row. I think it only came down to like game difference and like 1 point or something like that during the 2 previous seasons, but he was finally able to clutch it up this season and is looking to get into the prize money. And Somalian talking about why is superstitious sand pieces a thing, mentioning the increment versus reroll, which is one of the few things him and I can agree on. It doesn't really matter to me, but I guess I'm also not a good player, so who am I to say? Which is the coping mechanism that we tend to say when we don't want... Oh, wait, hold on. Dog playing Tetris is in a bit of trouble here. So is Dan. What is this Colin seed right now? Needs a Lombard. Dog gets a Lombard for Tetris. Now, Dan would love a Lombard as well. Gets the J piece all the way to the left side and gets a Lombard to the right side. Another triple. 198 for Dan. 194 for Dog. So, very scary situation for these 2 players. But Dog with a dirty Tetris at 217. Dan right now focusing on survival as Dog was focusing on those dirty Tetrises. Both are still alive. Oh yes, Kingsman here with the fact checking. Dog has won season 7, 18, 22, and 24. Below Dog, I believe, are 3 separate people, or 2 separate people that have won 3 times. It is Richard, if you guys remember who Richard was. Pixel Andy. And how many times has Gerald won? He's only won twice, right? Is there anybody else who's won 3 times? Dan with a bit of a spire forming in the center, but still clean enough to where he's Tetris ready. Nanu. How many times has Nanu? Has he won 3 times? I know he won on season 17 and another season. I don't know he won 3 times, so there you go, I guess, if that's true. But Dog at 347, 276 for Dan. Oh, okay, there you go. 3-time CTL champion, Nenu. So it is a 3-way tie in second place between 3 separate players. Looks like in the predictions, we have Dog with 2,000 points and DanV with 25,000, if I'm not mistaken. Unless I, for some reason, switched the 2 names in the prediction standings, which I most likely did, but... There you go. Gerald and Alex have won twice. And a bunch of people won once. Anyway, if you would like to help contribute to the prize pool, talking about winning, if you'd like to help contribute to the prize pool to help our players win money, You can do so with Matcherino. We're currently standing at $2,770.90. Currently our highest prize pool we've ever had in CTL history. So thank you guys so much for that. A bit of a mini goal that we have going on. It'd be cool if we can get the prize pool up to $3,000 for the first time ever. We've never hit the $3,000 benchmark. Our highest prize pool previously was $2,500 back in season 18. Dog with a nice vit. Oh, actually, it doesn't go for the vits. It goes for the Tetris first. 556 for Dog, 504 for DanV as we're nearing the 19 transition. And DanV will transition at 528. Dog will transition momentarily, hits the vits finally. Was a very delayed vits there, but is Tetris ready. And will transition at 587, while Dan, with a bit of a messy stack on the left side, will double Lombard on the left to set up a single and try and clean this up as quickly as possible as Dog transitions one off of a 600k. We had a bit of a hang there on the left side with the Lombard, but was able to solve it nicely and fairly quickly and scores the Tetris at 640 now. Dan in a lot of trouble. Is not looking too great, but still not in any danger of topping out. Just going to cost a significant amount of efficiency, which Dog has already taken to his advantage. Over 100,000 points ahead of Dan. Dog right now will cross the 700,000 point barrier with that Tetris at 718. Dan at 579. Oh, thank you for letting us know, Hollow Knot. Yeah, there we go. 773 for Dog, 635 for Dan. We also need to fix the Nightbot, because I think that's outdated as well on YouTube. I think that one only links to season 24. Anyway, Dog with a bit of a overhang there with a square piece on the left side. Nice adjustment there with the Z to accommodate that piece. Bangs on a Tetris. It's going to be 759 for Dog. Is it 759 or is it 859? I don't know. We'll see. That's not a 1.1, if you guys are wondering. Once he crosses that 100,000 point benchmark, he should be fixed there with the score counter. And it's going to be 919. Okay, so I was not right. It was actually 8 something. And Dan looking to catch back up here as Dog has taken a bit of a misdrop, so it is going to cost a significant amount of efficiency at 922. Yeah, Kingsman, if you can also fix Nestor's champs, that'd be great. No, I'm kidding. 928 now for Dog, 792 for Dan, as he bangs on the Tetris now, only behind by 100,000 points. So doing a great job at capitalizing of Dog's sting situation, but Dog is clean now at level 26, one off of a max out. Dan at 856, Dog 997. So this next Tetris will give him the max out. And I did see a Matcherino contribution. I believe it was by Hollow Knot, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you so much, Hollow Knot, for the $10.10 contribution, as Dan goes for this delayed vit setup at 890. Bangs on a Tetris at 925, looking for the max out into 29 with this efficiency, as Dog is looking for a potential 1.2 into 29 with his efficiency. He has 3 more Tetrises left to score and 1 line to burn, actually. And Dan will transition with that 1.06. So here we go. First 29 transition of the set. And immediately in a lot of trouble. Does bang out a Tetris and solves that Lombard dependency in the center. Dog transitions with a 1.2. So still 100,000 points in the lead, as Dan having to do a significant amount of kill screen play and outdo Dog in efficiency if he wants to take this game, but is doing a great job at capitalizing, as Dog is burning right now. Dan bangs on a Tetris, now only behind by less than 2 Tetrises, but Dog is looking to burn this down. He is clean now, is trying to build up the Tetris well. Dan scores another Tetris, now only behind by 40,000 points. Is Tetris ready once again, but has a bit of a low left and a high right, which can be deadly, but does bring down a Tetris. So does Dog, though, with a 1.28. Dan with a 1.23. And Dog, this could actually just do it for Dog, topping out with 1.28. Dan, 1.28 is the score to beat. So can just really just line this out safely. Is Lombard dependent in the center. Oh, misdrops a couple of pieces. Still needs 12,000 more points. This is still diggable, but if he gets the wrong set of pieces, this could be curtains for Dan. Let's see if he can clutch this out. Needs 3,000. Now 800 points. One more person should do it, and that will do it for Dan. And it will take game number 1. GG's. Skylar was. Thank you for the follow. And Double Bubble Trouble as well. Thank you for the follow. So what was it? Increment? I already forgot what Dan chose. So, Dog, you get the power of choosing for game 2. So I guess mental note here. Mental note. Once Dog reaches 800,000, it will say 1.1. So keep that in mind, everybody. We do have ready from both players, so let's not waste any more time here and get started with game 2. Coming straight to you in 3, 2, 1, Tetris. No Lombard, J, T, Z, L. Alright, perfect. Daniel's song on YouTube saying, exciting first game. Very much so. Ooh, starts off with a hang on Dog's side. Now sets up a combination of tuck sequences. Trying to solve this as efficiently as possible, but does a good job at solving it. And a very nice Z-spin for Dog. And a Lombard spin. So it looks like a... I don't know if it's controller issues or what's going on, but... unfortunate set of misdrops for Dog in the beginning stages of this game. Dan also having to do some burns, so it is going to cost some burns, which will give Dog the opportunity to lose this deficit and get back into the swing of things. Both players are experiencing the same drop, though. DanV is Tetris ready for a pretty level Tetris at 97,000 points, 61,000 for Dog. Hey, did you guys want to hear some more online facts? Of course you do. Shut up if you don't. During these past 3 seasons, I believe, if not 4, there's been a bit of a Arteaga brothers supremacy in the CTL championships. As far as I can remember, season 22 had Dog winning the championship over Scooty in a sweep. Season 23 had Andy winning the championship against Miles in a sweep. And then season 24 had Dog once again beating Alex T in a sweep once again. So we're in the middle of a pattern right now. So who knows? Maybe this season that Arteaga curse will be broken. And Dan doing a good job at trying to see if he can do that so far with a 1-game victory, 1-game lead, but it is having to do some burns in the moment. Now, just had to solve that Lombard dependency. It's costing more burns, which Dog is doing a good job at capitalizing. Hopefully my Ethernet cable doesn't unplug, so I'm trying to reach my phone. There we go. Indeed, that was a noise. Of course, that's the noise that doesn't get muted by my mic. Everybody's controller breaking before CWC. Yeah, maybe I should have gone to CWC. Now that everybody has a broken controller, I'd actually have a shot at qualifying. $384 for Dog, $288 for Dan. And Dan once again with more uncomfortable pieces, uncomfortable placements. We need to burn this down as quickly as possible. Fractal saying, my secret is breaking stuff 1 month prior instead of 1 week. Very untimely drought there for Dan as he's trying to solve this Lombard dependency, but he does solve it. And gonna be almost Tetris ready. Needs to open up the right side, and he is open on the right. It's Tetris ready for row 2 setup, and it will bang down a Tetris. Simul Tetris. F502, 355 for Dan. And some more uncomfortable placements for Dan. He gets a nice flat T burn. And solves the Lombard dependency. And Dog looking for a potential 600k transition with this efficiency. Has 3 more Tetris left to score and is at 571. Whereas Dan, at this point, at the most, will look towards a 400k transition. Actually, not even a 400k. It's going to be like a 395, isn't it? Yeah. 395 transition for Dan. 594 for Dog. Still on level 18. Dan already with a transition into 19 speeds. Bit of a suffered game right now for Dan after that very, very clutch comeback on game 1. Lucas with the tier 1 sub. Shout out to Mexico. Has been subscribed for 5 months. Yes. Shout out to Mexico and their wonderful ability to make shirts for CTWC. 665 for Dog, 494 for Dan right now, level 21, ahead by 2 levels in the line counter. And Dan, once again, not getting the right pieces. Gets a Tetris, but needs to do a T-Tuck or a Z-Spin. He does hit the Z-Spin. Erotis on YouTube asking, what did the first score end at? It ended with a 1.27 for Dog, I believe, and a 1.3 for Dan. So very good game there. As Dog, in a bit of a situation, needs to burn this down as quickly as possible, which will give Dan the opportunity to catch back up, or at the very least, chip away. Wow, what was that? What was that weird pronunciation? Or chip away at the lead at 741, now only ahead by 3.5 Tetrises. Does bring down a 30 Tetris on Dog's side. And Dan set up for the Vits. Hits the Vits. Pole vaults that L piece on the right side to avoid hanging it. And bangs on a Tetris at 696. Dog at 804. Looks like the calibration is no longer an issue, from what I can tell. It didn't jump to a 1.1 like it did in game 1. 834 right now for Dog. 758 for DanV. Keep in mind, Dan is still over a level in terms of the line count ahead of Dog. Scurvy Siddle on Twitch saying some of Dan's moves are so insane until you realize he's setting up for the next block. It's wild. Yeah, that's the type of adjustments you have to do for a top player. DanV's right now set up for a JP's dependency. Oh my god, getting bursted with squares at literally the worst time. And will hang the L piece. That's gonna do it. We have it ready from both players, so let's get started with game number 3. In 3, 2, 1, Tetris. So, speaking of the Arteaga brothers' dominance during these previous CTL seasons, both Dog and Andy are in the completely opposite brackets during these playoffs. So, if things go well for these two, they would see each other in the championship finals. That's assuming Andy and Dog beat their 2 opponents to make it to the finals. Pedro Neves. 027, thank you for the follow. Dog starting off with a Lombard dependency on Calm 3. Does solve the Lombard dependency though. Someone on Twitch. Can I tell... Hold on. I'll read it whenever Dan gets out of the situation. Does solve the dependency with a long bar. Looking to open up his right wall. Does so with an L piece and will be Tetris ready. Bangs out of Tetris. So in these first 30 lines, Dog at 159. Now 102 for Dan. Can I tell the joke? It will probably not be read aloud, but I will say it anyway. Why do skeletons not fight each other? Because they don't have the guts. Yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah, it looks like there was a coward spin there for Dog, which is the opposite of a Buko spin. Why is it the opposite? Because, trust me, that's why. $229 for Dog, $171 for Dan. Arbaro asking, Peek, did you read that off a popsicle stick? No, I read that off Twitch chat. Which I guess Twitch chat could be synonymous with popsicle stick jokes. 243 for Dan, now 282 for Dog. Foot is asleep. Oh, God. Anyway, 331 for Dog as we are in the first 70 lines of 18. Nice to tuck there. Oh, Dan doesn't go for the, what's that, boiler spin? Is that what that is, or is that the JD spin? It's a spin. I forgot which one. It's been a while since I've seen that. Regardless, he did miss it, so there you go. 378 for Dog, 365 for Dan. So both players with a fairly decent efficiency. Dog definitely with a better efficiency here at 401 at 81 lines, 366 for Dan at 86 lines. So once again ahead in the line counter. Neto on YouTube saying go Dog NV. Longboy Tetris saying JD spin is the coward spin of T-spins. I guess so. It's not really any one that I ever hit, so I can't say I'm well versed on the JD spins. But what I am well versed in is in the score checks. As Dog is at 475 with a 24-piece drought. Nice adjustment there with a square piece to accommodate the L in the center. And a bit of a misdrop there for Dog with the J piece. As Dan at 493. Wow, that was so smart for Dog there, not going for the tuck because it was basically like a delayed burn setup. It was all part of the plan, and now doing a lot of tucks. Oh my God, double tucks that T to the left side. And it looks like Dan will transition with a single at 562. And Dog will transition momentarily. Looks like he'll transition with a 581 with this next Tetris, unless he burns. No, he's not going to burn. Going to transition with a 581 or 580. Excuse me. 610 for Dan. So Dan has taken the lead, but he's still slightly ahead in the line count. But the lead isn't really that big, and neither is the line count difference, so one could say things are looking neck and neck between these two players. Dog was waiting for that T-tuck, for that T-spin, but didn't get the T-piece in time. Now had to do a combination of burns to solve this as efficiently as possible. Gonna go for the J-tuck, hits the J-tuck, gonna set up a flat double as Dan has taken a 100,000 point lead, but it's still ahead in the line count. Dog hangs the square piece. He was screen looking there. If you could noticed that. And it did cost some burns because of it. But Dan still going ham on the efficiency on 19. 8, 26 at level 23. 77% Tetris rate. While Dog is at a 69% Tetris rate with a 722. Stoico on Twitch saying, "Let's go, Dan. He's the man." Well, he's definitely doing a good job right now. He's 100,000 points in the lead, though he's still ahead in the line count, but is having a clean board and has just been keeping this Tetris rate around the same, 77%. This is a potential for a 1.2 into 29 if he keeps this up. Data Spree asking, is DanV going to CTWC? And looks like, according to Kingsman, he is. So the Team UK is going to continue their run, as Dog was also looking to continue his run after that hang. And so does Dan. What is going on with these two? In the same place, they're both trying to survive this as quickly as possible. Did a ghost just like completely slap the controller for these two? They just completely broke their controllers at the same time. However, they both solved it very nicely. Dog with a Lombard dependency. DanV is Tetris ready on the right side. Bangs on a Tetris. Still with an 83,000 point lead. And counting as he bangs on another Tetris with a max out. Dog dealing with this drought. And still counting with this drought at 33 pieces, but does bang down a Tetris. 938 for Dog. 1.08 for Dan. Transition with 1.1 into 29 speed. So here we go. Unlike in game 1, Dan definitely has the advantage this time around, but not as big as it may seem, because Dog is at level 28 and only behind by 3.5 Tetrises. But Dan, with a bit of a hang there with a J piece, does solve this fairly quickly. Just a couple more burns to solve this. Looking to burn this down as quickly as possible. Set up for a spin or a tuck. Doesn't hit either, because he didn't get the pieces in times. And Dog transition with 1.08, behind by less than a Tetris now with 1.1. 1.14 for Dan, who's at level 31. So keep in mind, we have a level 39 line cap. And a center wall Tetris for Dog with a 1.15. Dan is Tetris ready. Looking to get Tetris ready. Is Tetris ready? Gets a Tetris. Now with a 1.18 as Dog looking to transfer as well to the right. And he's doing just that. Is Tetris ready? Waiting for the Lombard. Let's see if he can get in time. Nice double for Dog. Bangs on Tetris now, only behind by 16,000 points, but DanV brings his lead up to 57,000 after that Tetris at level 33. Now with a 1.27, Dog with a 1.21. Oh no, misdrops that J piece. Gets a Tetris, but needs to survive this now. Hangs the Lombard and hangs another one, and that will do it for Dog. Dan has taken game number 3 and is one game away from moving on to his first semifinals. We have a ready from both players, so let's get started here with game number 4. Can Dog clutch up the decider, or will Dan take the sweep in 3-2-1 Tetris? Not the sweep, take the set in 3-2-1 Tetris. It really looks like same piece sets once again. You love to see it. Josh on YouTube asking, have we been sleeping on DanV? No, he sucks. Just kidding. Well, he's been really good for like the past year. Definitely consider him like top 10 at the very least for a good while. Maybe top 15, but definitely up there. Tetris time, welcome on in. Thank you for the raid. So, what other online facts is there? Dog with a bit of a messy stack needs to set up a L-tuck, gets the L-tuck. Now, going to look to uncover this right well. He does just that. However, he's not now behind by 60,000 points. Oh, Nightbot. Sorry, Josh. That was the bot. You're fine though. You're not gonna get like banned or anything. It's just a bot being dumb. Surge asking, why does the stream have the blue Scooty tag? I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was added during the blue Scooty craze and nobody bothered to change it. Josh asking, hasn't DanV won every single match in this season so far? I assume you've only been keeping up with the YouTube channel. I will not answer the question. There was actually going to be his final match is going to be uploaded to YouTube tomorrow against Blue Scooty, so that question will be answered tomorrow. Though I guess at the same time you could look at the Twitch VODs. Which feel free to do so if you want. Arbaro saying, spoiler alert, DanV makes the championship playoffs. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, for those of you on YouTube that are not aware, the YouTube uploads are slightly behind the Twitch VODs. Mainly because, you know, I only upload once a day, one match per day. So each restream we take about like at least two matches, if not more, per stream. So you know, we kind of end up building a bit of a queue. Anyway, speaking of building things up, Dan is building up a bit of a lead right now. 441 at 82 lines versus 402 for Dog. Naito asking, I don't think I understand the question. But I feel like it's going to be a spoiler for YouTube as well, so maybe someone on Twitch can answer for him, just in case it's a spoiler. 471 for Dog, 517 for Dan. So, yeah, looks like both players rocking the potential 600k transition. It looks like Dan is gonna have a one-off of a 700k, like, and by one-off I mean like if he plays perfect and takes less than one burn, I think he'd be up to like a 699, like a 697-ish, like really close to a 700k, but that's if he plays perfect. He definitely has to play perfect now because he has no more room to burn. 608 for Dog, 632 for Dan, takes a burn, so now it's gonna be 650, 680 transition for Dan if he takes this next Tetris into transition, as Dog also with a 600k transitions with that Tetris at 654. So monster transition for these two players. Dan's still in the lead though. Here we go. I do have an online facts here for you guys. DanV is currently the world record holder for the highest transition into 19 in a competitive setting. Basically played perfect. Only took one burn before the 19 transition earlier this season. So DanV, a world record holder, has already made a name for himself this season. Definitely looking to continue that legacy with a semifinals run. But not if Dog has anything to say about it. Both players with a 700k, Dog with a 757, Dan with a 782. Both players experiencing the same drought. Dog looks like a bit of a A misdrop there. Creating a Lombard dependency. Needs a Lombard now. Not going to be deadly, but it is going to cause some burns. Couldn't utilize those Lombards for a Tetris, but he is Tetris ready once again. Dan is taking a 2.5 Tetris lead, though. Now at 867. So, Dog with a really high score right now into 22, but regardless, it's almost like his score isn't even that good because Dan is 76,000 points in the lead. However, as I say that, he has a Lombard dependency in 31 piece drought and counting. 34, 35. Where's that Lombard for Dan? Gets the Lombard for himself the dependency. Gotta be Tetris ready. Dog only behind by 41,000 points now. A bit of a high left here for Dog. Bangs on a Tetris now, behind by less than a Tetris as Dan brings this lead higher at 42,000 points. 955 for Dan, 913 for Dog. Both players can transition with a 1.2 with this efficiency. Dan sets up a hole in his stack. Oh, Dog with the Spire. Solves it and bangs on a Tetris. Still yet to max out as Dan has taken a max out with a 1.02 at level 26. Dog following suit. Sets up an L tuck on the right side. Not getting the L though in time, so creates it, converts it into a S spin or a J tuck. Goes for the J tuck. Tetris ready now as Dog has no more room to burn here if he wants to capitalize as many points as possible before the 29 speeds. Dan with a 1.13, potential for a 1.24 into 29 if he plays perfect. But as I say, that has to take 2 burns, so can still get a 1.2 as Dan at a 1.09 can set up one more Tetris now with a 1.12 and will go into 29 with a triple behind by less than a Tetris. So here we go. Could this be the final game of Dog in the season? 1.17. Dan looking to defeat our reigning champ. Dog with a nice flat T-burn is Tetris ready, but needs a Lombard. Cannot really afford to get droughted right now. Gets a Lombard right in the nick of time for the Tetris. 1.26 for Dog, 1.23 for Dan. Still behind by less than a Tetris, but Dog in a bit of trouble here. Needs a Lombard. Solves the pendency here as he gets to the Lombard in time. Doesn't hit the 5-tap. Could this be it? Could this be it? Needs to survive this. Needs something to the left side. Hits the 5-tap there with the J-piece and a nice double, but hits it. Misses that T. Is still alive as Dan is behind by only 10,000 points. If Dog doesn't survive this, this could be it for his season. Oh my god, Dog is still alive. Solves the L piece dependency. And he will stay alive. Only behind by 26,000 points. Dan has taken a Tetris, overtaking the lead. Incredible survival there from Dog. And the Dan might actually top out here. Needs to survive this as quickly as possible, or this could be it. Oh no. Dog is gonna be in a lot of trouble once again. Dan has topped out with a 1.34. Dog has lost the match. Unable to chase it down. And he did it for the UK. Is it coming home this season? Boy, if Nightbot doesn't stop deleting all these messages, I'm about to give it a sinus infection. The Crystal Palace over Brighton, says Katie Bug. Yes, GG's to Dan has moved on to the semifinals. What the? there you go, Chiller. Let's see. All right, well, congrats to Dan and Chiller, I guess. I'm not even going to fix it. I'm just going to keep it there. It's 11 p.m. in Brazil. Alex T's glasses reminded me to put my own blue light blocking glasses. Thanks, Alex. And then he immediately takes them off. So there you go. Shake QC once again with the 321 bits. Badger plays on YouTube saying thrilling Tetris action. I love you, Nightbot. Don't be angry at me. Well, Nightbot is angry at everybody. Potbelly. I've heard of it, but I've never had it before. Usually when I talk about, like, sandwiches, there's always one person that brings up which. That is a sandwich place, right? I don't know. I'm not in Philly, so. 164 for Alex, 130 for Gerald. I have a gift card from there. The veggie is so good. Bro, shout outs to vegetables. Daily reminder to eat your vegetables. Drink your water. And get a good night's sleep. Paro. Maybe if I make my message real big by typing in all caps, I can see myself on Gerald's phone. Badger Place asking, how many pro foot rollers are there now? Bumpy Heart saying 7. I didn't even know there was 7. I assumed there was more. Like, I feel like everyone in their mother foot rolls now. 335 for Alex, 319 for Gerald. Fish Scrat, thank you for the follow. Do you think, like... Do you think Gerald is reading any of this right now? Alex at 459, 413 for Gerald. My favorite fall vegetable is the sweet potato. Michelle Obama. Oh, there you go. Fun fact there. 440, 462 for Alex. So we are getting closer into the 19 speeds. So, for those of you just tuning in, tomorrow we will be finishing the quarterfinals. It'll be between Dog versus DanV, and then Pixel Andy versus Fractal. That'll be tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Standard. Ryan with the 5 bits saying orange, 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 or car, orange. Gerald transitions at 560, so does Alex. So Gerald gets a first Tetris in the 19 speeds. Bit of a drop there for Gerald at 613. Alex with the Lombard dependency. He had to close down that Lombard dependency right before the Lombard showed up. Now creates a hole in his stack. Does play on the Tetris at 621. But another Lombard dependency solved there from Alex. Creates another hole in his stack, but it is clean now. Opens up his right well. Alex is actually our reigning champion, right? Who's our champion? Oh, dog. Alex was in the finals, though. He was in the finals. He got swept. Alex T got swept in the finals. What a loser. 744 for Alex, 808 for Gerald. So Gerald with a 60,000 point lead, bangs on the Tetris now at 903. So, Gerald, 2 more Tetrises will get the max out. As Alex is trying to burn this down a little bit, trying to open up his right well. Still not getting the right pieces for it. Still burning and now behind by almost 100,000 points. Gerald brings this lead up to 100,000. Alex at 914. So it looks like a definitive 94,000 point lead here for Gerald. Bernadette Garduño asking, where's Sharky? I don't know, playing some gacha game or something. 1.05 for Alex, 1.14 for Gerald. And Alex about to transition. Gerald already transitions at 1.15, and he is Tetris ready. But couldn't get the Lombard in time, so gonna have to burn this down. Takes a triple. 1.18 for Gerald, 1.08 for Alex. So Gerald still with the lead, but this is now getting chipped away as Alex is bringing the stack down. Gerald solved the L piece dependency. Ooh, Alex T with a misdrop there with a Lombard. I don't know if that was a double flip or just a dead drop. But Gerald banks on a Tetris 1.24. Has to clean this up a little bit. Nice tuck there from Alex. Bangs on a Tetris 1.23. Still behind, but only by less than a Tetris. And his Tetris takes the lead with that Tetris. Gerald takes it right back with 1.31. 1.27 for Alex.